Welcome back to another Tech Talk. This your host Josh from KeepItTechie, and today I got another special guest in the building. I'm excited about this one. This is someone I met here on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? He's working in the IT field, tech field, and it's super cool because he actually travels and works in the tech field, and that's one thing I kind of wanted to highlight. That was another reason I wanted to bring him on because you don't meet many people that are actually traveling but still doing tech and living abroad and going to different places and just remoting in VPN. And it's the perfect time for this, being that the whole pandemic is a little bit behind us, but a lot of people are not or working remote. And so I thought this would be like super cool to bring on Citizen Lou, man. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm great, Josh. How you doing, bro?
I'm hanging in there, man. Hanging in there, bro. I'm excited about this one. Like I said, bro. And let me give a couple of shout outs to one person that's in the chat. I definitely appreciate you coming through. Aaron B, what's up, man? Good to see you. And if you in the chat watching in the clouds, just go on hit the like button and say something in the chat. Speak to whoever is in the chat or whatever. This is one of those safe spaces where you can communicate with other tech folks. You know what I'm saying, and help people. Because the whole purpose of me doing this is to try to mentor, younger people that are getting into the tech field. If you experience, just go on and give your input to, people that may be asking questions and all that stuff. But let's roll right into the interview. Um, Citizen, should I call you Citizen or just Lou?
Whatever you want, Louis,
For sure,
Louis.
for
It's
sure. I roll with Lou then. But let me go down and let you introduce yourself to everybody and just give a little bit about your background.
okay. Yeah, like I said, my name's Citizen Lou. How I got into the tech field? I got out the Navy. I didn't really have any skills. I was a legit. If anybody's in the Navy, I was a logistics specialist. So I didn't even have a real tech background. And I was in Vegas. I was doing sales. I was doing real estate stuff like that. But I just didn't really it was really up and down, and my income wasn't really what I wanted it to be. And and then just a lot of things happened. My grandmother passed, so I just kind of I left Vegas and I moved back home, and I just really didn't know what to do. So I had a buddy. At first, I was gonna be an electrician. That's what's funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was telling me because you were in the military, so I had the GI Bill, right?
Yeah.
And I was gonna use that to be the electrician, but they were saying I had to wait like 6, 7, 8 months before I could get in. I'm like, bro, I kind of need to get in now, right?
Yeah.
So at first, I went to a school because I heard about networking, and I was doing that. I didn't. I'm not here to. I don't want to talk down on networking, but it just really wasn't for me like that. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just technical and stuff, and I just was like, I had to. And in the school, they had another class that was like database programming, and I was
Okay.
like, I was like, man, I really like this. I was like, and I ended up doing programming, and then the school was it was kind of whack. It wasn't a really good school, so I found out about vet tech. Vet tech allows you to use it. It doesn't even use your GI Bill, but if you have any GI Bill left, you can use it to go to a coding boot camp.
Okay.
And this was in San Diego. And how the coding boot camp works, they give you a stipend for a monthly housing allowance, and they give the boot camp half the money up front in the beginning, and the boot camp doesn't receive the rest of the money until you're employed in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how I cut my teeth and got into the game through the boot camp. And So yeah, that's pretty much it. And like I said, and the thing was, another thing my friend was telling me though, see, the amount of money they were giving me wasn't really a lot of money to live in San Diego because San Diego is extremely expensive. I know you know about
Yeah,
that.
it's expensive out there, man.
Right. So what I was doing was I was living in TJ. I was
Okay,
living in
yeah.
Yeah, and I was just crossing the borders for the boot camp and stuff, and then my job, and I finally got one. And it ended up being like I just loved it so much, I just stayed in TJ, and I
Hmm.
just kept crossing the border, and they just kept doing that. And earlier she was saying I haven't. Luckily, where I work at now, they haven't done any VPN. They don't do VPN checks like that.
Okay.
So I'm lucky on that regard. And it still says like I'm in California right now. That's my record. But right now I'm in Medellin, Colombia, and I've been
Okay.
doing this because we were kind of semi-remote before COVID. Like we only had to come in like 3 days a week, kind of sort of.
Hmm.
Now like, we've been full blown, but they kind of want us to go back January. Like that's like the plan. So yeah, that's pretty much my background. For the most part, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool, cool. So where you originally from? That was one thing I
Miss,
wanted to ask you.
oh, Mississippi.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. I seen that. I actually seen that on one of I don't know exactly what it was. It was either your Twitter or uh I don't know, one of your videos or somewhere in there it seen you said, so you from the South, man. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? Kinda like me.
Where you from,
I'm from
Jay?
Louisiana.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
So we right
Shreveport,
next door.
Shreveport, DR.
I'm from Baton Rouge. Yep.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
That's dope right there, man. Um
yeah,
like
my family all in Louisiana.
yeah, yeah. And I remember going to like J State, every
Oh,
time Southern played. So yeah,
yeah, my mom was the state. You know?
that's what's up. That's what's up. So but I wanted to go back to what you stated earlier about the military because I kind of had that same experience. Um did you not have I guess the ASVAB scores to because I did, and I don't mind saying it, but so just if you don't want to say it, whatever. I didn't have the ASVAB scores to get into IT, and actually I didn't even know if I wanted to get into IT. You know what I'm saying? So I was just curious if you always thought you wanted to get into IT, and the Navy was just a stepping stone, or were you just trying to get out of Mississippi because I know that's what I did. I was trying to get out of Louisiana.
No, it's a mixture of all that, bro. What
Uh huh.
happened was, so I made a was it 70 71 on ASVAB, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I did want to do IT, but before I was in college, right, and I was doing accounting.
Okay.
And they kind of told me, like, my recruiter was like, first they said I had too many speeding tickets and I wasn't gonna pass the security clearance, so I had to choose another job. That's what they told me. Knowing what I know now, that was a lie. But our recruiter lied like that. So
Yeah.
I just chose LS. He kept gassing it up, and he was saying that as a logistics specialist, I can go anywhere. So that's kind of what. And it was funny. Keep it techie. I still had a lot of tech hands-on experience in that
Mm-hmm.
because we had a software called R Supply,
Okay.
and so I did have a lot of experience with tech in that regard still. But would I change? Probably not because to be honest, keep it tech. I don't think I'd be doing programming if I did do it. If went into the IT route,
Mm-hmm.
I might not have landed where I am now.
Okay. Yeah. Cause and I apologize, somebody calling my phone during the middle of the interview, but um, yeah. So hold on one second. Let me at least put it on vibrate. But yeah, man. The So that threw me off, man. It was another question on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. Let me just stop for a second and give a couple shout outs. I seen a lot of people start rolling in. I definitely appreciate you guys coming through. Sir Obadiah, lovely angel lady, my wife, what's up? Um, Professor Black Ops, what's good? Cool Kamasi, good to see you. You know what I'm
Uh,
saying?
Salute everybody.
Yeah. Professor Black Ops, I don't know if I said peace to you, man. Peace to you. Eight win is timeless. Good to see you. It's cool to see guys in the building. I definitely appreciate it. But um so I think I got back what yeah, I think I got back what I was gonna ask you. So um as far as that's what I was gonna ask you. Oracle. Did you learn any Oracle products like Hyperion or anything like that when you was doing the finance uh or going to school for it? I think
No,
or going to training for it. Okay.
I left school my sophomore year, and the
Mm-hmm.
most I got was like managerial accounting and finance. I didn't really get deep into any type of software. It was just really like
Okay.
the debits and credits. You know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
pencil and paper type accounting.
Cool. Yeah. So it was uh crap, man. That phone call threw me all the
I,
way the hell off.
no,
I was on the roll, man.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Uh, Cause yeah, I mean, and you know what though, I wish so like there's a lot about the Navy I didn't know. Like they have like these things, it's called CTNs, like that's like the programmers or like I guess like it's like cybersecurity people
Mm-hmm.
in the Navy that I had no idea about. Like, I was like, wow, I wish I would have known that, but
Yeah, I
you
met
know,
one. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. The recruiters,
okay, okay.
we didn't know this joining, but those recruiters, they have like set set criteria or set standards
Incentives,
they
yeah,
gotta that they get pushed down to try to force you into a specific position or specific job that the military or the Navy or the Army needs at the time. Okay, we low on this MOS, so we got to push that to the new recruits coming in and try to get them into it. So yeah.
fact. Because yeah, like if I like I think my buddy was telling me I'm black, I made a certain amount on the ASVAB, that's like a certain amount of points they get.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's crazy. That's why I say joining the Navy was the best thing I ever did, but also leaving the Navy was the best thing I ever did. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
a stepping stone, to get to get to where I am now.
Yeah, and most people, I mean, whether they want to say it or not, especially black folks, we go into the military to get to school.
That's
I've
just, I did it. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna front. I mean,
yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, because some people, oh, you're not patriotic. Nah, I mean, I went to school. I mean, I joined the military to go to school, number one. Now, the other stuff, I did try to do my best in as far as whatever my jobs is in the military, but my number one priority was to go to school. And people should understand that, being that I mean, why you think they offer it? That's I mean,
Right.
that's something that they put in contracts for a reason because they know that's an incentive to get people to join. And if it's an incentive, some people gonna join for that specific reason. You know what I'm saying? And so that don't mean I'm unpatriotic or I don't love this country, which I do, but at the end of the day, that's why I joined. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. And Josh, check this out, bro. It ain't like it was easy. You
Yeah,
know,
for
it
real.
ain't like it was easy. I mean, it's like we did the work. We sacrificed. I
Yep.
missed funerals, birthdays, graduations, weddings. I sacrificed a lot. So I don't even. Anytime like I think about like where I'm at and like what I did, I'm like, you know what? I had to sacrifice to get here. So I'm not. I don't even like you said. I don't even feel. I don't feel no type of way. I know what I had to do. Like only 1% of the people even do what we did. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Exactly.
it
Exactly. Now, this was another one of the questions that, disappeared when that phone call came in. But so you and I don't know if you could talk about this or whatever, but since I'm assuming you have a clearance, right?
yes, I do.
Okay, so my question is how does the and they don't really know like what you said, but does that affect your clearance that you stand out of the country in any way?
Right. Okay. That's an excellent question, and I had to actually get some clarification on this a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not a government company; we're a private company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're not working on any government contracts right now because when I
Okay.
first they were
Mm-hmm.
right, but and like I said, we weren't working remote like that, so it wasn't a big deal. But now they're like contracting with like Apple and was it Hewlett Packard and
Mm-hmm.
different companies and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily like it was funny because I needed to clear. I didn't really need it, but they just said it's good to have. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not like me working remote right now. It doesn't affect it. No, it doesn't. That's a
Okay.
good. But I had to get some clarification because kind of was like, and they really don't know I'm out here like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I kind of had to had to like ask that question like secretly, like, hey, if I'm not in the area, does that So they were like, no,
Mm-hmm.
it's cool. We're not necessarily a government agency.
Yeah, because I was, and the reason what made me bring this question up, like, um, I've said this on many streams, but I work on a government contract, and I have to have a clearance and all that stuff. But um, my goal was once when I first started this job was to give myself a couple, maybe 6 months to a year within this position and then move down to the location because I was actually staying with people down in San Diego because San Diego is very expensive like you said earlier, so I was going to
Yeah.
save up enough extra money on the side so we can move because I knew we was going from you know from standard of living kind of low in Vegas to a very high standard of living, or that standard of living. um and so I wanted to give myself time. So one of the options was to I was looking because every time I seen you from the South, bro.
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
and apartments down south,
Oh,
you get used
bro.
to that in your head. It'd be like $700 for a 3 bedroom. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, 400, bro, and you get for $700 in San Diego, you might get a couch, you might
Yes,
have a closet.
yes, it's crazy, man. And so I started looking at Tijuana, but then, um, it was questions about my whole clearance and if I can keep the clearance if I'm staying or if my home or record was in Mexico or something with my wife and kids and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause that's part of the vetting process or the security clearance process, and I ain't gonna say too much past that, but you know places that you've lived, you know what I'm saying.
Right,
And so
because
I didn't want to complicate things.
you're right, because I know for a fact if you have like if you try to access any government websites,
Hmm.
they do VPN lock you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
100% right. That's why yeah. So yeah, this company is pretty cool.
Hmm.
It's like a it's like one of these veteran owned minority type
Okay.
companies. It's really tight. They help veterans out and stuff like that. But it's really cool. But like you said, man, Sandy, yeah, like my thought process on it was at first keep it taking. I'm like, look, if they catch me, they catch me, but
Yeah.
I can't afford this rent. So I'm like, what you got?
Hmm.
And then I was actually talking to my supervisor, and they were like, really? And they just, they weren't really like, you
Tripping
know,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, treat them at all. Because I mean, I didn't have any family out there, and wasn't trying to do any roommates. So
Yeah.
I would tell them, they'd be like, what? You live down what? They thought it was cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was. Yeah, that I haven't had any issues with it.
That's cool, man. That's cool. So as far as IT goes. So I know you talked about some training or the boot camp that you went into, but was there any other training that you got in order to get into programming like you are? And then also, are you a front end developer, back end developer, or kind of where you at with that?
Yeah, so my that's a great question. The first part, I used various resources, Udemy, YouTube. But what really helped me out, I had a buddy of mine, actually one of my best friends now. He was from New York. And he was a programmer, and he had came down to TJ. He's about 40, and he was like more of my mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and he really helped me out a lot, man. He really showed like he really broke down like data structure and algorithms to me, and we were going through like different coding exercises, and he would like explain it from like a cultural perspective, like we would listen to Mob Deep and Wu Tang while we were. 'Cause I know a lot of music through him now.
Okay.
He would yeah, he would like how we like he would. So you know how arrays, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
array functions. Like there were certain functions I was like, man, I can't get it. Like they got four, like higher order function, like for each and stuff like map. I was like, bro, how do you do this? And he was like breaking it down, like, okay, if you got this many, if you got this many mixtapes, it was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
funny. If you
Yeah.
want to change it to a rap from rock, you would have to use a map. I'm like, oh, okay, and it just kind of clicked like that. So I
Yeah.
really attribute him more than the boot camp, more than the court. I really attribute the mentorship he gave me more
Mm-hmm.
than anything. Uh, any chance I get, I like to give him a shout out.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's dope right there, man. Um, so essentially you are, you know, I guess you gain most of your skills, self-taught as well as, the mentorship from your homie. So that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah, so I guess I've done it all. I've done college, I've done boot camps, and I've done the online. And I always because I saw in one of the questions, right? It was like college certs or boot camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna get to that one next, but go ahead. Go ahead.
I can go and get into it
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
because I wanted to say, man, I think that like this is not to denigrate college or anything like that. My only thing is too, I think it should be more of a mentorship and apprenticeship aspect, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you learn more on the job,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And you get what I'm saying? Like you learn more being below a senior. Like now that I'm doing it, like all the stuff that I thought it was gonna be, I'm like, first I don't even write as much code as I thought. I'm mostly writing more. Like I'm communicating. Like I got people. It's like two people below me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like delegating things. I have like emails and like ticket support. I like got to tell. So I mean, I go over somebody's code and stuff like that. So you just learn more on the job and things like I thought. Like I give you an example, right? I always thought like, okay, I need to build stuff from scratch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into the game, you realize they already have a code base. They already have frameworks that you might not be familiar with, and you got to kind of train yourself anyway. So it's like it's why what I'm saying. That's how I look at it. And by the way, to answer your question, I go like I'm more of a front end developer. I dabble in the back end a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was asked what my tech stack was earlier. So we use Angular JS,
Okay.
and on the back end we use more C sharp because that's what more mid tier companies like to use because it's they I don't want to say they're old fashioned, but they kind of are. They're not like a startup where they're using like the most cutting edge technology like React and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the tech stack we use. So uh, yeah, that's yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. More questions. I don't want to ramble.
No, you good. You good. So one thing I was gonna ask you. So if someone was actually trying to get into programming like that, like kind of like what you do, where do you think they would start? Like as far as the resources? And somebody actually asked it in the chat, and I was just gonna get to it. But is there a self-taught path you would suggest? So that kind of ties to that.
Yes. Okay. So now to answer this question is kind of because I don't really know people's situation, right? Like if you have a couple kids,
Mm-hmm.
if you got bills, you got debt, I don't want to just tell you to drop your stuff and just focus on that. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then React, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be more employable. But don't be don't be picky. Like you might have to start out as like a WordPress developer or something, or a content editor, or like just you might have to start out at the you start at the bottom. It is what it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Yeah.
Don't be picky. Don't be like, oh, that ain't 120K. Don't throw it out the window. You got to start
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I see a lot of people messing up at when they try to get the game. They get too high and mighty on themselves.
Yeah.
Like they think that, and that's another problem with this space. I mean, not this space, but like the tech space. Some people just think they got a lot of arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
People think they got better skills than what they got, or they think they know everything, or
Or
you
kind
can't
of
tell.
kind of elitist.
Yeah, like this, so I can't stand it, bro. Like
Yeah, me either.
they'd be like, "What? You didn't go to this college?" Like
Mm-hmm.
they'll do that, right? Not in my job. I'm talking about like when you interact, like you go like meetups and like YouTube, like other stuff like Twitter,
Yeah.
stuff like they'll try. Oh, you don't have a computer science degree? And I'm like, dude,
And
You
this is
serious?
why I always say this. I mean, it's a number of different ways to get into the IT field. It isn't just one. You know what I'm saying? And I've met people, with no degrees. I've met people with no certs. I've met people with neither. That are very successful in this field. And so it's no one way path to get into it. You just gotta go for it if that's what you want to do. Pick what you want to actually get into and try to push forward, lay out a plan, and try to push forward the best way you see fit for your situation. Because, like you said, everybody don't come from the same situation. Everybody ain't got some parents that could send them to college. Everybody ain't got the extra money to spend on a expensive certification. You know what I'm saying at the moment. So they can afford some Udemy courses though. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so
Big,
it's a normal. You just got to dedicate yourself and get and learn it. Yeah, don't stop. Your real life. If you got debt and all that stuff, continue working on that. But add this to your plate if that's what you really want to do, and take some time away from the BS. You know,
yep.
Netflix or anything that's distracting you, and focus on what you're trying to actually do with your life. So.
Yo, KeepItTechie, I saw a stat and I use this when I talk about programming. People, the average American watches, what was it, 15 to 20 hours a week of
Hmm.
television.
Yeah.
That's a part-time job right there. That's
Yep.
part-time coding right there. Like you
It's
said, we
crazy.
have time. It's just people just aren't good at time management.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it's and like I said, I kind of fell into this. I didn't really want this wasn't what I initially did. I feel like it chose me kind of sort of. I
Hmm.
just loved it. I just immersed myself in it. I mean, I bought head first JavaScript books. I mean, Pragmatic Programmer, Clean Code. I just so many different books, man. I just love what I do. I love JavaScript. I love programming. So
Hmm.
it wasn't a do or die. It was I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? Like, and I learned that in sales, right?
Hmm.
You got to just keep doing it, and the only way to fail is to quit.
Yeah.
That's the only way. So I don't care how long it takes you. Some people don't. Some people be like, "Oh, I learned in 6 months," and you find out they got a degree from MIT. Like, all right, bro, come on, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't. It might take you 9 months, a year, 18 months. I mean, however
Hmm.
long it takes you, but trust me, it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I 100% agree. But shout out to a couple folks in the chat. I definitely appreciate you guys. For the super chats. I don't want to mess up your name, so I'm gonna just say Smash. Taboo Smash. How did you get your first web developer job? I'm going to graduate in IT, and I like to do remote. So if you want to answer that, let me read the other ones, and then
Okay.
I throw that one to you. Kel Tech IT, good to see you, man. I definitely appreciate it. He says, get out of your comfort zone. The only way to get grind and shine is by being uncomfortable. No one knows everything.
Okay.
Embrace learning. Yeah, I agree with
Big
that statement, Cave Tech. Oh, go
salute.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say big facts. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
nah,
was.
you good. You good. And then Quarter Drew, he says, yeah, thanks for answering my question. It helps. I'm trying to maximize my time and target studying. Bullcrap job is my fuel, and I forsake it a lot. Yeah, I agree, bro. Sometimes you got to put away the bull crap aside. You know what I'm saying, and just keep pushing. But let's go back to that question by Smash up here. Um, how did you get your first web developer job? And I think you might have missed that in the beginning. I think he talked about it, but I'm gonna let him answer it. He said,
I'll definitely get into that.
okay.
Oh, so, like I said, remember I said the boot camp they place you right. That's how they get their money.
Mm-hmm.
And they placed me with a company, and it was like, so what we were doing, we were building like we were using like we were building mobile apps for restaurants in the area. So like I'll give the example. There's one app we were building. It was so let's say you were playing live music, right?
Mm-hmm.
The app was you would all the customers would download the app and then they could tip the person playing an instrument
Okay.
with what like a request. So if you were playing a piano, You could send him a request and like say play Billie Jean or Michael Jackson. You'll put like some money in there. He goes through and selects which ones to play, and he like accepts the money.
Okay.
So that's what we were doing. And that job, when COVID hit, it fell through.
Hmm.
And but they still got whatever. I don't even want to talk about that. But
Yeah.
one of my good friends, man, because that's another thing too, guys. Networking, and it doesn't have to be college too. I met so many guys through meetups. You meet them through Twitter. I mean LinkedIn. But one of my buddies got me the gig I got now.
Hmm.
So that's another thing too. So I would say that, and it's funny the network, the guy that I got through networking, this job I love. Like that's why I'm kind of like sometimes I feel like, man, do I want to like leave and like try my hand at like Netflix or like Amazon or something? But then I'm like, I really like my job. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to leave? It's like when you get kind of, I am kind of, I'm not lying, I'm kind of comfortable
Oh yeah.
right now, but I do want to like, you know, elevate and try something else new. But to answer that question, the boot camp got me the first gig, right? But my network and just meeting other people, that got me a way better gig, a way better job, and that's
Hmm.
what I kind of push people to do. Like it's because I'm gonna tell you, man, when you're on Indeed, I'm sure you can attest to this, man. Like you probably go through like 100 job applications or
Oh yeah.
stuff like that. But when you know somebody who can just put you on, it's like, man, like wow, I just saved myself months of time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
That's true.
So
Nah, you're 100% right, man. But that network is very important. That's why I always talk about LinkedIn. And I know LinkedIn is they've been hacked and had issues in the past, but
well, my buddy got scammed on LinkedIn, man. I was
yeah,
that's
they
I
got the
read something.
scammers on there too. Yep.
Yeah, that scam he told me was so crazy. Like they had him doing like work. Keep it, Josh.
Yeah.
He was doing like actual work, and then they deposited a check,
Yeah.
bank account, and it ended up being false and phony. And I'm like, bro, I just ever since then I was like, man, I don't know about that LinkedIn stuff. I
Yeah.
just
Nah, you right. There are a lot of scammers out there. That's why you got to make sure. And that's why I always talk about Twitter too now, with
I love
because you
Twitter.
can actually see, some of the people on there, and if they got like, you could tell real accounts. You know what I'm saying? And then it points to the LinkedIn or whatever. You could tell this is that person. Like I just met somebody that wrote one of these cybersecurity books that I just purchased, or pen testing books that I just purchased on Twitter. So the networking is endless, and then you can see that it's a verified account or a real person. On LinkedIn, you don't really you can't really tell.
You can't
People
really
can
tell. You
make
can lie. You can,
yeah.
you know. Like, I don't. Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. But I do know
Yeah.
a guy, man. He works at GoFundMe. He got to be like the most. Man, this dude got to be like the most connected dude on LinkedIn ever. Like, no
Mhm.
matter who, if you got him on your LinkedIn, he's connected to somebody.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, that's all. I want. Yeah.
Nah, you good. And then oh, hold on, let me just say a couple shout outs as well. I seen a couple more people popping through, and I definitely don't want to just acknowledge the super chats. I want to acknowledge everybody. I try to keep it fair, it ain't about the money for me. It's about the, helping people. So uh Dollar Will, good to see you, man. I ain't seen you in a minute. I definitely appreciate you coming through. The Black Cyber Network, good to see you. And BMT, shout out to BMT. I definitely appreciate you coming through. Business minded talk. He says, I share the screen. I definitely appreciate it. And Aaron B, what's up? What's up? Yeah, I need that network. Yeah, you definitely is very important that you get that network. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I actually have up Citizen Lou's YouTube channel, and I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. And if you guys are just joining, Citizen Lou actually, has a YouTube channel where he travels throughout. He basically is a programmer, and he's an expat at the same time. So is dope. He does, IT. He does streams on, moving to these different countries, and the transitioning, as well as still working in the tech field. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope. And then you can learn about the standards of living, how much things cost, as well as forming relationships over there. So it's a dope channel that he has, and I definitely want to help him out by pushing it. So let me drop the link now. But you guys, if you guys want to subscribe to his channel, that's his link right there in the chat. Um, and so when let's see, another question I wanted to ask you was, and I know I'm kind of shooting from the hip a little bit, Citizen Lou.
No, we're just flowing, man. Hey, no problem
Yeah,
with me. I'm just glad to be here, bro.
for
You know what I'm
sure, for
saying?
sure. So what are some of the, I guess, top uh learning resources that you use in order to keep your skills up? Because I know
Okay,
things are constantly changing. So
that's an excellent question. Can I share my screen?
oh, man, I
Oh,
wish.
okay, okay, no bad. It's what I use various resources. Have you heard of Code Wars?
Cold Wars?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I ain't heard of it, but I'm gonna search it up though. You said
Yeah,
code?
yeah, Code Wars. It's this is kind of what I use. What I used in the beginning. I still use it now. So what
Okay.
it is, they give you like coding problems. They'll give you like this problem right here. It's like they want you to transform an input of array of zeros and ones to array in which counts number of continuous ones. If there is none, return an empty array. So they want, and you have a choice to use like JavaScript, Python, Ruby, and like different programming languages.
Yeah, I
So,
see him.
so you see them, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
right now I'm level 5. Right now, it goes from 8 to 1. One is being the greatest. And you start at 8,
Okay.
and I'm working on getting level 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I love using this, man, because it allowed me to start being comfortable writing code. And I started using, it's like whiteboarding too. When you whiteboard,
Okay.
uh, writing your code, whiteboarding, I feel like is just as good as writing in a text editor,
Mm-hmm.
because you're like visualizing it, and you're just so I still so whiteboard and building projects. Also, I got a couple of projects that I've built that I like to use for my everyday life, and I'm actually working on an app right now. That's why I was telling you I'm working on Swift, and
Okay.
I might just use React Native just to do it, just because like I don't really need native functionality like that. But it'll be a sports app that
Mm-hmm.
I'm using because I just like because sometimes we get caught up and we think like we have to make like the next Facebook and stuff like that, and you really
Yeah.
don't. You know,
Yeah.
you just need to build an app that solves a issue in your everyday life. And then when you go into like an interview, you bring it to like a meetup. You can just talk about how you built it, and that goes way more. Like, and
Oh
another thing
yeah.
too, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like,
Yeah.
if they like you and stuff like that, or like, because I'm gonna tell you something I've realized. It seems like 80% of developers, everybody in tech I've met, love basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, as soon as I start talking about that, they're like, oh, what? Okay, okay. So we start talking about it. They don't ask me anything about like object oriented programming anymore. They don't ask. We just talk about that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And because it's like when you show that you can build something, that's more valuable than like, in my opinion, than anything else. Cause
No, I 100% agree with you. That's another reason I always talk about GitHub if you're getting into programming, or somewhere to display your what's the other one? It's like Git. I can't remember what it's called, but
GitLab,
yeah, GitLabs. Yeah,
GitLab,
yeah, they got that and GitHub or whatever. And if you a developer, that's a great place to, show your work, as well as you can work with other developers and find other developers that could possibly teach you different things. And it's almost like a social media. You can follow, certain developers and see what they're working on. And also, if you make changes to their code, or if they have it open like that and they approve it and everything, you get credit for it. So you can say that I worked on this Python script that handles this, and this is the piece of, you can actually show it when you're
yep,
going into the, interviews and all that stuff. You could just pull it up. I've seen people go into interviews with laptops, and they'll pull up some of the stuff that they're working on just to show, that they do have the skills that this company is looking for. So
right, exactly. Excuse me, exactly, man. That's just and that's the name of the game. That's why I love programming so much because it's like it's more, in my opinion, I see it more as an art than I do as science.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's not like I'll give you an example, right? I mean, because I'll give you an example. Like I'm not gonna denigrate data structures and algorithms because when you know those things, it does help you out in the process of programming. Like you have better design patterns, like you know like what to do, what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to build something. You still have to apply what you're learning. And I just think that if you can build an app or build a website that people use or you use or your friends use, that's way more valuable than just knowing how to invert a binary tree and
Mm-hmm.
you know three-dimensional arrays and linked lists. I mean, those things. Like I said, I'm not. I'm just saying. It's just those. It seems like because I got a buddy who works at Amazon and he has a computer science degree and stuff like that, but he doesn't really use those things in everyday life. Like he had to know those things to get in, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't even use those things. So yeah, like that's a issue I'm having like explaining to people because, like I said, like to the people who do have a college degree, let's just kind of be honest. The system is a bit. The system does need reform. Like
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, can we just have an honest discussion? Like I know a lot of people went to school and put their 4 years and paid the money, and they feel they
Mm-hmm.
accomplished something, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, and I don't want to take that from anybody, but just look at it from an honest perspective. Like, can we all agree that it does need some reform? Like what I say, I think that it should be a 2 year apprenticeship,
Yeah.
right? Like you put the in demand skills in the first 2 years, and then all the other stuff like history, writing, in
Mm-hmm.
fact, that just comes later. That's how I look at it, and it shouldn't be this ever increasing cost of school. Because like even though I got the GI Bill, right? I
Mm-hmm.
under, that's why I feel like I'm in a position. I'm like, can I really tell somebody to go to school? Because you know what I mean, like to get a lot of debt, but at the same time too, if you are gonna get in debt, at least do tech though, because at least you'll be able to pay the debt off later, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
But but that's all I'm saying. I just think the system does need some reform because I just think that it's a disconnect. You
Mm-hmm.
know, another trick too, to keep taking. If you're looking for a job, don't look for junior developer jobs. Like, don't do that
Why is that?
because it's like I know it's crazy, but it's like everybody's going for the junior developer role. Like everybody's trying to get that, but nobody's going for the senior and mid level developer roles.
Yeah, because they'll look at, and a lot of times it seems like they'll put way more skills in the
Yeah.
job
Oh,
description than that. You it's like finding a unicorn.
right. Exact, bro. Exactly. They want you to know Postgres, GraphQL. GraphQL just can't. They just not use it. I mean, what?
Yeah.
You know, they want you to know like 7 languages. I'm like, bro, you can only
Mm-hmm.
use one. So
So
I'm like,
part of that is the recruiter's fault as well, or the company's fault. Whoever's writing these fictitious, job descriptions that, I mean, you're never gonna find those people with all those skills like that. So yeah.
right. And I just noticed the chat. Engineering cannabis said you use those things in data science, random forest. Oh, you're right. You are 100% right.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's right. And
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, nah,
Exactly.
I like. I got some. Hey, I like this chat, bro. I mean, you got some tech people in here. I love it,
Yeah.
man.
I try to. I mean, I guess I don't know, man. I try to be positive. I try to put out positive energy, whatever, and that's the type of people that I guess gravitate with me, which I'm fine with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'd rather be small and positive, and people that's trying to help other people than it be big with a whole bunch of like people trolling and all that
Yeah,
stuff or whatever.
right.
It's
Right.
more it's more real. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Cause
genuine, organic, right? Exactly.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So um, but hey, it was something. Fuck, I lost it.
Yeah, but I ain't
Oh,
even.
nah, you
Okay.
good? It was something dealing with college. No, that's what I was gonna bring up earlier when you was talking about college. To be honest, I learned more from my associate's degree, which was 100%, not 100%. I say about 75% hands on. Like we did programming where we had to build apps. We had to, we set up servers, and it was a networking program like what you were talking about earlier in the conversation. This was one of those networking. And I didn't really like networking either, but they did a lot of systems stuff or systems work in the course, like setting up, domain controllers, setting up, Active Directory, creating user accounts, just going through the hands-on information. I got more out of that course than I got from my bachelor's degree. And I know people be like, "Oh, you shouldn't be bashing a bachelor's degree or you got a bachelor's degree." But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I can only be honest. I got more out of that associate's degree than a bachelor's degree. Even though I got it, it looks
Right.
pretty on the resume. But yeah, that's about it.
Bro, I'm 100% agree with you. Like, I just, like you said, it's like people don't want you to like say anything about it. It is what it is, bro. It's
Yeah.
not. It's application. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I say the biggest thing about tech too is why I kind of, like I don't want to make this a race thing or anything, but I want more black people to get into it because I mean it's a meritocracy. It's a true meritocracy, right? It's like what you do.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do the job, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, yellow, green,
Yeah.
purple, orange. Like you will get a job.
No,
And
that,
it, huh?
no. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you, man. And I was research. I'm the same way, bro. It don't matter who it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Get into it. But go ahead with what you were saying. I'm sorry. I
No, you
thought
good.
about something, but never mind.
I, no, you good. I was just gonna say that another thing too about college. I had a guy I was working with, and he had a computer science degree.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not the best person to work with. He was like you couldn't really tell him nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He kinda thought he was like high and mighty because he had, and I didn't have a degree. Bro, we were getting paid the same. You know what I mean? I'm like, he just kind of had, what I mean? It just, and that kind of like put a sour taste in my mouth a little bit. Sometimes, like I had gotten into it with me and Gabe one time
Mm-hmm.
about the college thing, and uh, what I realized, what he was saying was true. I mean, it does help. I mean, it is what it is. It does help. The system as we know it, but like I said though, you don't need a degree. I just don't want to sell the idea that you need a degree.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need one at all. Like you can literally, they got this there's a group on Twitter I saw. It's like iOS. It's like dev dogs. Like they're helping ex-cons get into like programming and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
that's dope.
Yeah, so that stuff like that. I just because man, it's just bro, dude. Like technology, you know this, bro.
Oh
Linux. I
yeah,
mean, open source technology moves so fast. The
definitely.
school can't keep up. It's impossible because they have to send out their curriculum
Oh yeah,
and get it approved by
get
the
it
accredited.
vetted. Yeah.
They can't throw in React JS, what Linux meant, Ubuntu, cat. It's hard for them to just keep throwing those things in there,
And that's
right?
why it's always behind. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's always going to be behind.
Yep.
Always. So that's why people like you, people like me, like the community, we have to like make a community effort to get people in. You feel what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, it has to be like a outward. Not, and that's one thing too. That's why I'm glad I'm doing more videos because at first I was kind of like doubting myself, like oh I don't work at Facebook, I don't work at Google, like can I really talk about? Yeah, at first that's how I was thinking, but now that I'm like I got like a couple like 2.5 years in the game,
Mm-hmm.
I'm more comfortable, and now I'm like, you know what, man, bro, it doesn't matter as long as you get in, as long as you get this money, and you just keep building on top of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because I mean, we've all had to, take I don't know. I wouldn't call them lower end jobs, but like entry level positions. We all started, at an entry level sort of position. We were still learning, we were still getting our feet where we all wasn't starting just because you see us, working in the field and we got all this experience and we've been doing it for, a certain amount of time doesn't mean that we've been doing that since the beginning. We all had to start, at some level. Like my first job was I was making what, $16 an hour or whatever, and it's crazy, as a network administrator. It was a smaller company with like maybe 30 employees, and I was basically managing it was basically a dollar system on the network, as well as some other systems on the network for email. But very small company. I think I was $15 or maybe $16. Might have been 20. I can't remember. But we all got to start, at
Right.
some level. You all can't start at 100,000 or whatever, like everybody say they making online.
Exactly. And then I'm gonna be honest too. I think that like the first job I got, I was like 50K, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, 50K in San Diego wasn't really, that much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had to start somewhere,
Yeah.
I had to cut my teeth, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? That's what, like you said, that's what you got to do, man.
Yeah. 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 But nah, you're 100% right about what you said earlier too. I wanted to respond to that, but
Mhm.
you were saying we needed more black people in tech, and that's 100% true. I've been like doing a lot of research, and then also I've said this on my channel plenty of times. I'm like, every position I've worked in, I've been like the only black person in the building a lot of times in certain positions. It's rare to see other people in the other black guys in the tech field, and so that's another reason why I put myself out there, because it's like a lot of people from our community, like down south and all that stuff, they don't know that you can get into this stuff. Like, I remember when I was younger, I remember hearing people say, "Oh, uh, um, computer jobs. Oh, that's and not to make it a race thing, but oh, that's for
I know
white people. That's for white people." You know what I'm
I know
saying? Have
you
you
said
heard that? I've
white
heard
boy.
it.
I was like, what? What does that mean? White
Yeah,
what?
yeah. So,
I know exactly what you. Oh, I hate. That get my blood boil when I hear that, bro. I'm like,
yeah,
see, and they don't even know, bro. Like
yeah.
I was doing the job of like three white. Like I was better than like three white dudes at the
Hmm.
job. So I'm like, because I put the time in, and it had nothing to
Yeah,
do with my skin color. It
yeah,
was they were asking me stuff. I was
yeah.
teaching stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, y'all gotta get. It's just that I, I don't. Like I said, I'm with you on that, man. I think that it's just a. I don't know if it's an inferiority thing. Like they just. It's because I think it's no. Excuse me. It's like intimidation, man. It's like they think that they got to be a super genius. Because I won't lie, I kind of thought that at first too a little bit.
Oh
I thought I
yeah,
had,
me too.
you know what I mean? I thought I had to be a super genius, and you hear some white people saying that too. They'll say that they have that same kind of thing, but uh, and you kind of see the over majority of people in it are white, so that kind of makes
Hmm.
you feel, it kind of makes you
Yeah.
feel a certain way, like you're not welcome. But
Yeah, because if you look at the stats, for the STEM field in general, if you just look at the stats, it's like a company out there called Pew Research, and
Mhm.
they gather some stats. Now, we don't know where these figures are coming from 100%, but uh, a lot of people are reporting pretty much the same thing, that is like 60% dominated by white people,
Like,
65% of all the fields, and then it goes down from there. I think it's Asians next, especially in tech, and then Latino, and then black. And we
yeah,
like dead last in tech
right. And
as
that's
black
it.
people. You know what I'm
And
saying? Because so
my
I
bad.
think it's important. I guess my only reason for bringing that up, I think it's important, that us that are in the field kind of promoted to, um, people that are coming behind us, that kind of look like us. And it's not to exclude anybody. I never want to say that. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for helping anybody of any race. And that's what my channel is all about. It's all about helping people, regardless of your background, race, color, creed, whatever, as far as learning Linux. But at the same time, I also have this personal need to want to help people that grew up just like I grew up, in the places where I'm from, and and try to help them be successful as well, because it's open to anybody. You just got to put in the work and get into it.
Right. No, and that's facts, bro. Because like at first, let me tell you something too. Because like Bradley Beal, the basketball player. But you watch basketball. Keep it taking
A little bit.
a
Yeah.
little bit. So anyway, he plays for the Washington Wizards, and what he did was he gave the team he was sponsoring for the AAU. He gave him a lot of advice, and I was like, you know what, man, that's what I should do. That kind of inspired me to do that for the same thing. Like I know there's kids who want to get into this field, right?
Yeah.
They need somebody who's in it, who's doing it, to give them that. Hey, man, this is garbage. Like y'all not gonna. You know what I'm saying? You got to do better than this. Like you can do better than this. I know you can. Like that type of energy. You know what I mean? Like that's what I
Mm-hmm.
want to say on that.
Nah, nah, I agree, I agree. But let me go on and shout you out again, bro. And then also I was a couple things I wanted to you know, ask you about your site. Now I don't know if you wanted me to bring it up, but I found your site from your Twitter, and I wanted to ask you a couple
Well,
questions because it looks like you making you're writing articles and stuff, which I find is super cool. Um,
yeah, I got a blog. It's called
yeah.
the mobile programmer.
Okay.
It's about tech stuff and traveling and stuff like that. It's a little early, but that's what it's going to be about mostly. It's just talking about different different tech stacks, travel, crypto, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's my little
Yeah.
personal blog, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I seen you talking about automation and all that stuff, and I wanted to ask you one last question. Like, what are your thoughts on automation, affecting the tech field as well as programming specifically for you because that's what you do. You know what I'm saying? Do you see it affecting the programming area of IT?
No,
No.
right? Because I don't. I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Because the human brain, there's a good book I read about this. It's called Life After Google. And anyway, so so artificial intelligence for the most part is an oxymoron, right? Like intelligence can't be artificial.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we talk about what humans do, right? Creativity, the economy, creating something out of nothing. Like let's look at it for a minute. Like Uber, right? Uber on paper is a bad idea, right? Like you just run it, you get in random people's cars, they take you around. Like
Yeah.
that's really that's really a bad
Yeah.
idea. By the Airbnb, you letting random people stay at your house that you don't know, you can't vet. That's
Yeah.
on paper, those are bad ideas. Facebook at the time was a bad idea because there were so many different social networks. Google at the time was like the 30th search engine at that time. You remember Ask Jeeves and all like
Yeah.
Google, remember that Google was not even the first search engine, but what the human mind and the creativity and ingenuity allows you to do is just push the envelope and create things. Computers cannot create like that. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So even this is what I tell people: like even if automation takes out certain jobs, somebody's gonna find those people something to do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what billionaires really do. You think about it, like they find human capital and they put it somewhere. Right? They make you take resources and you make it uh, get a return on it, right? So if you got like 10 million people not working, somebody's gonna find them something to do, and that's just
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of the economy, capitalism, creativity, and stuff like that. So I don't think no, I 100% don't.
Do you
I don't
think it
think.
do you
Huh?
think it'll be tougher for people to get into it being that I see and somebody mentioned this in the chat as well but some of the um like low complexity code, I'm gonna just use his words, the Black Cyber Network, will
Mhm.
be done by machines, or machine learning. Do you think it'll be tougher to get into the I don't know, more of a development role, if you get what I'm saying, or
No. That's like no, I know exactly what you're saying. And you know what,
mm,
bro? I've seen AI. They have like an AI copywriting AI.
oh yeah,
Have you seen that? They
yeah,
like AI that writes copywriting.
mm-hmm,
I'm like, oh, that's and that's a fair point. But what I was saying, I don't think that like translating business logic, right? Like if
mm-hmm,
you have like an application that does certain taxes and stuff like that, I mean, I think that you still need a human to do that.
some
I don't.
human interaction with it, yeah,
Right. And and at the end of the day, being a creator, like where artificial intelligence really shines at with finite situations, right? I'll give you an example, like chess, right? There's a million moves you can make in chess, but it's not infinite, right? It's only
Yeah.
like a certain amount you can make.
Mhm.
But human brain has an infinite return. Like you can create something that makes infinite returns. So and you don't need, and the human brain only works on like 8 watts of power.
Mhm.
And for a huge computer, you need like you need all this electricity and stuff like that. So I think that, to be perfectly honest, I don't think automation is going to be the thing that takes over the world. Like I said on my blog, blockchain is what's going to take over the world
Okay.
because, because blockchain gives the people power, right?
Mhm.
And when you talk about artificial intelligence, essentially what you're talking about, if you say it, like, this is how I look at it. If you say artificial intelligence is going to take over, you're essentially saying Google, Facebook, and Amazon and Microsoft are going to take over. And
Right.
that's who the big players are in that game, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you don't have a supercomputer in your garage. I don't have one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But with blockchain, it's like we're all a part of a supercomputer. So that's
Mhm.
kind of what I like to talk about on that. So I don't really think that automation is gonna like I don't like to get into the doom and gloom. Everybody's gonna be out of jobs. We're all gonna be on what they call it, UBI. I don't
UBI. Yeah.
no, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that the real push we start to see is blockchain and
Mhm.
uh, open source and people developing communities and traveling around and working remote. That's gonna be a way.
Oh
And
yeah.
then crypto. That I see that now. Like I don't even
Mhm.
when I see it, think of AI. All I really see it being used a lot is like data science, like crunching big numbers and machine learning,
Yeah.
which has its place in that, right? I mean, that's good. I just don't think that it's gonna be replacing creative developers.
Yeah. The whole data science and data analysis and uh that's something that I've really been trying to get into, and it's dope how a lot of that automation is being used. It's currently being used now. So like whenever you, I don't know, travel to another state or whatever without letting your credit card company knowing you use your card, and you know how to automatically block it, that's automation actually running in the background, seeing that you're out of your normal location and making a judgment call and turning off your cord thinking that it was probably stolen. And so, and then as well as the fraud, the financial fraud systems a lot of times. And then also, like, it's crazy. That's why when you apply for, let's say, a home loan, it only takes like 15 minutes for them to come back with a decision a lot of times, because they run through. It's automation that's running your stuff. It used to be somebody had to go pull all this information and look through it and make a decision. It's a computer making a decision nowadays, and it's super quick. So yeah.
Hey, Josh,
Yeah.
you just made me remember something important about this too. Another thing too, bro. I think that automation is going to make our lives better. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah.
Like I don't believe in any type of negative, because I think that, look, if I can alleviate some work, right,
Mhm.
and automate some things, now I have more time to do other things. I can build
Yeah.
another income stream. I can build my blog more. I can build a course. Now I can make more money. Like, that's why I think it's
Mhm.
just that we're entering an age that we've never seen before, right?
Mhm.
And it's like people are kind of like, I
Iffy
don't want to say,
about it.
yeah, they're iffy about it. People aren't ready for it because I don't think it's gonna. I just don't. I don't know. Like, we'll see. But I think that if you have, I saw a podcast, or I listened to a podcast. They said that if you have these things, you'll be good for the future. It's creativity, the ability to learn, learn new things, and it was the third one was it was something about like community or something like that. Like, being
Mhm.
a good person for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I 100% agree with that, because the creators are going to be the ones who really take off in the future, and
Mhm.
automation is going to help you do that even more.
Yeah. And more efficiently and faster. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
like we
agree.
use OBS, Google Meet. Well, look
Mhm.
at all the stuff we're doing open source right now. Like, just
Yeah.
It's helping us create content and help other people out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Now, I definitely appreciate you coming on. This was a dope discussion. You know what I'm saying? I kind of shot from the hip a lot and doing this a lot of this interview because you was dropping great gems and everything that can help people get into this field as well as just think. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I like about these conversations. It just makes people think. On how they can better their lives and get into this field. You know what I'm saying? If they want to, if they want to pursue it.
And
But
I wanted,
oh,
I
go
remember
ahead.
there was one question I
Mm.
remember on the email that I wanted to touch on.
Oh,
It was
go ahead. Go ahead.
the programming language question.
Oh yeah, yeah. Which one? Yeah, yeah. Which one? And let me ask you that. And that's crazy. I forgot the one programming language question that I have on my list that I normally ask. But what is your what? How does it go? How do I normally write it? Oh, yeah. What are some programming languages and as well as which ones you recommend? I know you kind of touched on the ones but which
Yeah,
ones you recommend?
this is what I love talking about. That's why I want to make sure we got on it.
Yeah.
So, uh, okay. So, a lot of people say Python. You should start out with Python.
Hmm.
Okay. Python is good. Yes. Python, you can do a lot of things. You can do, uh, machine learning, AI. You can do web development with it also. Python is great. All this documentation, almost every school is using it. That's great, right? My first language that I learned was Ruby. I
Hmm.
like the syntax on Ruby is a lot simpler than Python, in my opinion. But if we're talking about jobs, like we're talking about getting in, self-taught, have that ability, is JavaScript hands down. I mean,
Okay.
JavaScript is just. I mean, they're using JavaScript for literally everything. Like they're using, they're using JavaScript to build mobile apps. All the big companies are using JavaScript, using it for the user interface on just so many things. Like any blockchain app, like the decentralized apps, they use React for the front end on it
Hmm.
because it's a library, it's not a framework, right? So it's just and pretty much the web is run on JavaScript. So
Yeah.
and Java and there's this it's called Solidity. That's the smart contract for
Hmm.
Ethereum programming language. It's essentially JavaScript, like the
Okay.
syntax, the way it flows. So when you know JavaScript, you could just the power you have is just so much. And my only thing about Python, when I look at Python jobs, it seems as though you need like a degree or a master's. You know what I mean? And you're going to be
Yeah.
working in data science.
Hmm.
And stuff like that. So I haven't. That's why I don't really. You know what I mean? Like I don't really like Python. I don't like to tell people. I don't like to like crap on other languages. I'm not that type of dude. Because every
Hmm.
language is great, right? But I just say that depending on what you want to do. But if we're talking about jobs, JavaScript is hands down because Python. Because I'm not in cybersecurity, right?
Hmm.
But I know they use Python. I know hackers and I know they use it a lot. So that's why I'm. It's just from my perspective.
No.
But I know they do use Python. And Python is like the number one popular language. But
Yeah,
if we
and
talk,
I agree with you. It's just the I think, and it's the way I look at it. It's kind of like um Python. It's kind of like when all these people talking about cloud technology now. You know, it's almost like a buzzword or something to say to
right,
sound like you know what you're talking about or whatever. That's I don't know. It seems like it's being used as you know I guess some standard of knowing that you know programming, but no,
right,
JavaScript doesn't get a lot of love.
it
Even
doesn't.
though it's like I think it's ain't it like number two
It's number two.
behind
Yeah,
Python? Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Python's
so
one.
it's used. It has a big community of people that actually use JavaScript, and like you said, it's used everywhere. Just like everybody's using Python in a lot of different areas as well. JavaScript is used everywhere. So I agree with you there. You know what I'm saying? Yep.
And, and Josh, like another thing too, every language has its own community, and
Yeah.
the JavaScript community is so vast. That's why I see so many self-taught developers. That's why, from my perspective, I'm like, okay, I see all these people who are self-taught
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript. So I'm like, that's why I always promote JavaScript the way I do because I feel like that's That's the name. That's the hot take to get you in the ticket to get you like the golden ticket to kind of get you into the field because
And
JavaScript you
and you're
huh?
right, because I've seen that in a lot of job descriptions. If that's paying a lot of money, JavaScript is there, and they'll have Python as well, but JavaScript is highlighted, as one of the kind of required or um, suggested, or what do they call it? Like, this is a good to know, you know?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the hired and required. Yeah, I know you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
have those. Yeah, and another one too. Keep it techie. This is something that I realized too. C plus plus. I mean, if you really want to be like a like change the world type, because C plus plus man is a monster. Like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't know, man. C plus plus, like so every popular video game is coded in C plus plus.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
Photoshop is created in C plus plus. Bitcoin is coded in C plus plus. I believe it's Google Chrome. I believe was made with C plus plus.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's just so many. I don't want to overwhelm anybody with it. It's just like I said, I just love programming, man. I touch all languages that I can. And but like you said, to answer that question though, it's JavaScript, bro, because you'll get in depending on your area, you can get in like 65, 80K, maybe, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, start out or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's like you said, you got different frameworks, you got Angular, you got React, you got Vue, you got it's just so many applications. I mean, governments are using it, big
Yeah.
startups are using it, big techs using it, everybody's using it, freelancers are using it. So
Mm-hmm.
I always go with JavaScript, man. That's just mine. That's what I always go with.
Okay. Yeah. And everybody will have the programming language that they'll die on the hill for. It's
And I
just to
know,
be funny. No,
well, I,
and I'm not saying
yeah,
that's literally. Oh,
right.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I see the chat. They saying Python. Like I said, I know
Yeah.
people love they love Python. I
Yeah.
know. I knew some people gonna get a little.
And I like it too. You know what I'm saying? But I
I like
understand
it.
that, yeah, that it's other, languages out there, and it seemed like Python is one of those, I don't know, buzz programming languages that people use even if they don't even know how to program at all. They say, "Oh, you need to learn Python." People that not even in the tech field. "Oh, you need to learn Python," or "I'm gonna learn Python." It's kind of like a buzzword to say, "Oh, I'm trying to get, you know, in the tech, and I need to
That's
learn Python," or I need to learn cloud. The exact same thing.
yeah, AWS. Yeah, that's another be
Yeah.
right buzzword. Yep, that's
Yep.
another one.
Yep.
Eh, That's a good point, man. Because like I said, I see Python. I bought that book, Automate Everything with Python. I
Hmm.
bought that book. Oh, keep saying. I saw another question about Linux. Did you want to? Can I talk
Oh yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, I normally keep it to an hour, but we can keep going, bro. I mean, if
Oh, my bad.
if it's
Oh,
something you want to no, if it's something you want to go into and I didn't ask it, I was just going with the flow of the conversation, and then I looked up and it was close to an hour. I was like, oh well, I know I can't. I'm not that great at holding people attention, so for too long. So I just be doing that just because I don't know. I don't think people want to hear me talking about this, over an hour. But hey, if you got something else you want to put out, I don't care, bro. Keep going.
hey
Um,
man, hey man, the chat loving it, man.
yeah.
Hey, we having a good convo. I was gonna
Exactly.
say, I really like Linux, man. I love Linux actually.
Okay.
When I was in the boot camp, right, what happened was my MacBook fried on me because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
have fans and stuff like that. So I had another laptop that was crappy. It was like HP. So I missed that terminal that MacBooks have.
Yeah.
That the same terminal that Linux uses.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did was I used a virtual machine and I like used Ubuntu to
Mm-hmm.
like just the code, right? And I remember I needed some help with some stuff, and they were
Yeah.
like, "What? You running Linux? Huh?" I was like, bro, Josh, I didn't know what I was doing. I just needed that terminal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just needed that. But then I downloaded the Bash terminal later. But yeah, Linux is great because I told my dad, I was like, man, we could get some old computers and just install Linux on them, and you can have like community type center. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
programming and or just having computers to work on because you got
Yeah.
all that. You know what I mean? Because I think they teach your kids how to use open source technology early. I mean, I
Right.
think that'll you know what I mean? That'll just help them out so much. Excuse me, in the future.
Yeah, and it's crazy. My son took he just started high school, but he took a Python class. So they teaching kids this stuff early, like very early. And my youngest son, he's still in middle school, and he's taking computer classes as well. So um, it's being taught at a very young level, and a lot of the information that we learned in maybe college or something, or after high school in some way, a lot of these kids are going to be coming out of high school with a lot of that same knowledge that we learned at that time, so they'll be ahead. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I told you, man. When my kids come out the womb, they're gonna have
a mouse and keyboard.
they're gonna be with two monitors. You're gonna be in that crib with two monitors. Boy, yeah, I don't care. I'm like, man, I'm making sure that my kids get the highest advantage. You know what I mean? Because
Hmm.
because I know if I would, I tell we all say this, like, man, if I know what I know now, I
Yeah.
would have like got my GED at 16 and just started just well, no, because 16 there wasn't really that many programs and stuff like that. But today now, I wouldn't even, you know, what I mean, I would just get my kids working in the field at like 16. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Yeah. And
yeah,
that's the crazy part. I mean, it ain't really no age limit. I'm working on getting my kids to take the at least the ITF plus, which is that CompTIA certification. What was that? IT fundamentals. IT fundamentals. I got them going through actually Tech G's course on ITF, and so they going through that, and this will be the second time they've watched it, so all the way through. So I'm glad I got them going through it, and then you can sign them up and they can take the test. You know what I'm saying? If if
that's good.
they want to, and they could be certified in high school, middle school. You know what I'm saying?
Already ahead of the game.
Yeah, yeah. So
And you know, and I remember another thing too about certs. I'm sure somebody's thinking about this because I get this question a lot. They ask me like, "Is there a cert for programming?"
yeah.
And it's not. It doesn't really work like that with programming. They
Mhm.
kind of want to. They'll more test you at like code tests,
Mhm.
like some code interview questions. You kind of got a whiteboard, and you kind of like that explain, how you would approach this problem, how you would solve it.
Mhm.
And it's not really a cert for that because I had saw like I think it was Microsoft had a C# cert, and I mean it just kind of they ask you like do you know like what they ask you like what is this array or like ask you like statically typed or they ask you
Right.
like how to do this stuff like that. It's not really like how a code interview works, so there's not really a cert for it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I don't have any certifications. So I just kind of like I don't know that field, and like so I don't like to talk down on them either. I just like I said, just what we do, we just don't really use certs like that.
Yeah. And I kind of figured that. That's why I kind of skipped over that question because I thought about it earlier. But let me ask you this: so, how do you get these people's attention? In other than I remember, I brought up, GitLabs, and GitHub and stuff. How do you grab these companies' attention to get an interview?
Oh, that's an excellent question, man. What I'll just give you what I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was going. This is like pre-COVID. I
Okay.
was going. I was going to meetups, right? So in San Diego, and I will say this too: being in a tech city helps tremendously.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like if you're in like like Utica, Mississippi. I mean, it's not. I mean, you're really not gonna have that much opportunity, right? You're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
be that type of network. But if you're in like Atlanta, if you're in like Vegas has a good one too. As a matter of fact, 'cause
Yeah.
you got L.A., San Diego, Miami, New York. Mid tier. You'd be mid tier like Austin. If you Denver, if you especially Denver, Colorado, actually. But if you're in these areas, you have like a lot of meetups, right? And they have like hackathons. And I'm gonna tell you what happened to me, Josh. I went to a hackathon. I wrote about this in my blog.
Okay.
So I went to a hackathon, right? It's my first hackathon ever, and I was like super excited. And at first, man, like I was still young, and I was like, I asked this dude, like, so they pair you up in teams, right? And I asked this dude, like, hey man, you want to work with me? Do you want use VS Code? He looked at me like, what? You don't use like he just had this real smug attitude. And at first I was thinking about leaving. I'm like, man, no, screw this. So anyway, there was a guy, he was by himself, and I ended up working with him. Come to find out this dude was like a senior engineer with like
Wow.
8 years, right? And he just showed me the game, man. And I'm gonna tell you what he told me, right? He was like, when you go to these meetups and stuff, like, don't be in there like thirsty. It's crazy. It's like you got to do like reverse psychology, right? Like, don't come in
Mm-hmm.
there thirsty for a job. Kind of like, don't be intimidated by the people hiring you. Like, okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. What happened with me? Like, there was a guy. He worked at GoFundMe, and I was
Mm-hmm.
just talking to him as if he was my equal. But you had dudes in there like, I need a job now, and it was like,
Mm-hmm.
like
Like
pressure.
thirsty. Yeah.
Yeah, like thirsty, bro. I'm like, bro, like, ain't nobody gonna give you a job. One dude to my heel work for free. I'm like, all right, bro, like y'all. Because check this out, if you gotta work for free, that means you ain't worth nothing. Ain't nobody
Mm-hmm.
gonna hire you. You know what I mean? You gotta come in with like some look, man. This how much I want. This how much I do. It's just really a confidence thing. It's really weird.
Confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like really the difference between you being a senior developer and a junior developer. A lot of times is just confidence. For real talk, it's actually kind of wild. Like, so to answer your question, man, I would say networking, showing up to places where other people are at, whether it be Twitter, online. Now you can do it online, like make YouTube videos of you coding and building stuff. They got this new thing on Twitter. It's calling it build in public. So if you want to just build something in public and have people look at it, somebody will notice you, man. Trust me. But you got to put yourself out there, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. I don't want to like tell you what to do because we all have different things we're interested in. Because like I said, I only know what I know. But yeah, I just to get noticed by a company, I was like I said, network because there's you'll meet some people who work at GoFundMe, you go work at this place, and they'll put you on, man. That's how I always promote networking. I think because I had a
Mm-hmm.
sales background,
Yeah.
pri- I think that helps me a lot too in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? And like communicating. So that did that answer the question? I hope I
No,
answered.
no, that answer perfect. Yeah. Yep. But that's true though. Networking is very important. You know what I'm saying, and not being, just be confident, just not too over aggressive. You know what I'm saying. So I agree with that. 100%. Um, but that's good advice. For anybody that's trying to get into it. So, and the reason I'm rambling like that or whatever a little bit because I'm trying to think of the next question that I had on the tip of my tongue, but I lost it. Oh, do you work with the cloud in any way? Is that something
Um,
that you?
we work with AWS. I don't like the Kubernetes and stuff like that. I don't really like touch it that much. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't have that's not my wheelhouse really. Like I said, I'm mostly on the front end and like just kind of pulling the data, but I do see what they do. You know what I mean? I talk to them and stuff like that. But I've touched AWS before,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but that's I do want to get into it more though, because actually I had a code. One of the job I was interviewing for that was a code test. They wanted me to build like a website with the S3 Amazon. Was it right? S3 with a simple. I don't know. I'm somebody in the chat can help me out. It's like S3. Like how
Oh
you
yeah,
set.
you talking about the whatever
What's
they?
it S3 stand for? Simple storage something.
I'm not sure, bro, but I know exactly what you're talking about
You
though.
know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that we wanted us to set up a website hosted on that
yeah.
S3 thing. Yeah.
It's
So
just basically a node or
right, right. Okay.
yeah, it's just basically a small server. I mean, and I think it's all based on the computing power that you select for
Mhm.
whatever little server that you set up in the cloud. Cause
Right.
I've done it, the other way. They don't call it that. They just call it a compute engine on like Google. So it's basically the same thing. It's a compute engine. I use the Google Cloud platform. You set up your little. server. That's how I host all my websites. I do all my websites. They're hosted on a Google, compute engine server or whatever you want to call it, with like a shared CPU. It's shared with other. It's basically I'm basically self-hosting my website, versus paying like uh what's that shit? GoDaddy and
Yeah, yeah, GoDaddy,
HostGator.
Blue
Yeah,
Ocean.
where they
Yeah,
charge you all that money a year. I pay like
yeah, yeah, because
four
I'm using
dollars. I'm
Netlify.
uh-huh. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I said I'm using Netlify. I was just saying I know exactly what you're talking about. I use that to host my little side projects.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I was like, yeah, that job. I mean, I was like, I'm like, hold on, man. Y'all want me to build? y'all want me to build this? Like, it seemed like I was building a feature.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a minute. And I noticed online that I heard that was kind of a scam going on. They want people, they want you to build it before they hire you type. I'm like, hold on, man. I'm like, that's some you know what I'm saying? That's some
Mm-hmm.
new type slavery. You know what I mean? I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know about this dog. Like, so that's why, man, I think that the best, I mean, it seems like the best type of gig you can get, man, is like from networking or somebody you know in the field. Like,
Yeah.
just hands on. Like, because just some of those, and people, a lot of people don't want to hear that. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? People don't, they don't want to like reach out or put themselves out there like that. But you're gonna have to, man. It's not that the days of you just being in a room by yourself,
Yeah.
coding away with the lights off. That's dead, man. You gotta communicate. You gotta talk to people.
Yeah.
You gotta be out there. You gotta show your face. Like that's not, you know what I mean. That's really the way we move it.
And that was another question I wanted to ask you earlier that I kind of forgot about, but DevOps, do you do you recommend any like certifications, because they do have some DevOps certifications? Um, do you recommend that as something people should look into, or what are your thoughts?
I I'm not that versed in DevOps.
Okay.
I've been I've been to some meetups and
Mm-hmm.
they were doing DevOps stuff.
Okay.
Like, oh, okay. Now the wind came through.
Oh, okay. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I was like, I was like, no, but no, I was gonna say I seen like DevOps. They make some money too. I saw like a lot of good salaries. I mean, I know the
Oh
money's
yeah.
not it, but I can't touch on. I wish I could though. I wish I did because I saw like that they had a terminal. They had all that stuff going on DevOps. I really don't. I need to look into that a little bit more, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really answer on the DevOps.
Yeah, yeah. Don't trip. But Phil, the IT Jedi, is in the building, and he asked, did you guys talk about opportunities for remote work for brothers who want to travel? And that's exactly why I brought Lou on, because he's a traveling programmer, dev, or developer. Um, and if you want to, speak to it a little more, we spoke about it a little earlier. But if you want to speak to it more, Luke, go for it.
Yeah. Shout out to Phil, man. I wanted. Yeah, that's an excellent question. So now the way I'm doing it, it's kind of I'm kind of hacking it. You know what I mean? Kind of, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm kind of taking advantage of the remote situation.
Pandemic and all that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
right, right. But it's definitely I mean, like I said, I see remote jobs everywhere. Like I said, I always say, okay, here's a trick, right? Here's a trick. If your job requires Git, it's going to be a remote job. It can be remote, right?
Mm-hmm.
If your job requires Git because like version control, because
Yeah.
that's really the only way you can really do remote work as a collaborative team.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So like that's another trick. Like look for Git. That's GIT.
Mm-hmm.
If you're if you're a programmer, you know what Git is, like GitHub, like you said, GitHub. Because and another thing too, I don't know. I I need to do some more research. I'm gonna start looking for more work, see like how open they are to remote. Because some, like if you look in Texas, I was looking in Texas, man. A lot of them were saying no remote. You know what I mean? I guess it just depends on where you're at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Indeed is not the only one. You have like they got remoteworkly.com. They got what
Yeah.
flexjobs.com. They have websites that are dedicated to remote people.
Mm-hmm.
List has a lot. You can do another thing, but to really get it down, if you really want to make sure you work remote, freelance.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's you can't go wrong with freelancing. That's actually what I'm moving into now. When I get, like I said, I'm doing my thing right now, but I really want to move into freelancing because, like, I remember we were talking about the foreign tax inclusion and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. That's where that really shines at, and it gives you more ability. That's why I promote programming more because, well, let me stop because I know you can freelance doing like networking stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
database. Like I said, I don't want to sound ignorant saying you can't do it, but I know for a fact programming you can definitely freelance with. Pretty
Yeah.
much all tech, though. Would you agree,
Yeah.
John? All tech, right? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much. Pretty much. Like, I mean, you can graphics design. People do all kind of,
Right.
tech jobs or whatever. And but one cool thing about working or doing freelance work like that, you ain't got to report to nobody.
You ain't gonna report to
You just
nobody, right?
report to your client. I mean, to your clients that you're helping. And not really reporting to them. You just, doing the work for them. And long as you providing the service, and you're getting paid, you could be anywhere in the world you want to be. You know what I'm saying? So,
Big
I,
facts.
yeah. So I agree with that, man.
And oh,
Oh,
go ahead,
go
go ahead.
ahead. Nah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and what you were saying too. Another thing too, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Freelancing, I mean, you got to find clients stuff like that, so that might be
Mm-hmm.
daunting. So if you don't want to do that, definitely look for remote work.
Oh
That's
yeah.
really what I'm pushing on my channel now. I said I made a video about that yesterday. I'm like, I'm done, like pussyfooting around on the topic. Like, bro, we got to get remote. You know what I mean? We got to
Mm-hmm.
like be able to like we got to cut that commute out. We got to be able to make because I know somebody, man, they working like 2, 3 jobs remote, stacking up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I mean that's hard work, right? But I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's what working remote gives you that ability. So you can't, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I keep pushing, man. I just want because now that you're working remote, you can live in different countries. You don't have to be in Mexico or Colombia like me. You can go to Europe. Only reason why I'm in these countries for real because I'm close to home. I speak Spanish, and I like the weather and it's cheap, but cost of living is great. But you don't have to be here. You could be in Africa. You could be in Asia. You could be in
Yeah.
Europe. You could. I know some people. He's in the Philippines. He has clients in the UK.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just this new world we're in. You don't have to be landlocked now. You could be, what I mean, all around the world. That's the future to me, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the World Wide Web, created that.
Yep.
Everybody's connected. So, yeah. Yeah, but so that's all the questions I got for you. Was it let me see. If is it anything, let me see if somebody else asked another question in the chat, but
Yeah. Somebody asked
um
me what IDE do I use?
oh yeah, go ahead.
Visual Studio Code always.
Okay.
Nothing
Yeah.
else.
Oh, it was something I wanted to respond to as well. Yeah, Kev Tech is 100% right. Quarter Drew, he put in there, you can get Azure, for free. So check that link out. But one of the reasons I use Google, which I know you could do the same thing on Azure, but I use Linux for everything. So I have Linux servers set up, and so I don't know. I can I'm so used to managing them and controlling them, and understanding how to manage swap space and um, just different things or different configurations you could do on a Linux system. I'm so used to doing it, even though I know the same stuff on Windows. How to make things run with Windows servers properly. Uh, I don't know. It's just everything I do outside of work, I kind of stick to Linux, and so Google, I don't know, their platform, I don't know. It seems like it works a little better for me when it comes to Linux. But they also just like what Kev's Tech said, they offer free on Azure as well as a cloud platform. They do give you like when you sign up for Google Cloud, I think it's like $100 credit, you know what I'm saying, that you use for the first 6 months. And just to explain how much I spend a year, let's see. Currently, I'm on track to spend $10 or $12 this year, and not month, this year, on hosting all my websites in Google Cloud, because it's like less than $1 at the moment based on the monthly charges I get. Now, granted, I don't have a lot of traffic. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be a little more because it's all based on the amount of traffic that's pushed to your site. But I am hosting websites like for my mother-in-law. She gets traffic. My wife, she gets traffic for her stuff, and as well as mine gets a little bit of traffic. So I got multiple, websites on it. So take it for what you want to, take that for what you want to take it. You know what I'm saying? And weigh your options, because all these cloud platforms pretty much give you the exact same features. It's just all on based on what you want to use at the end of the day. So.
Like, that's big facts because it's funny you brought up Google. When I was building some apps, I was using Firebase.
Oh yeah, yeah, Firebase. I know about Firebase.
Right, and it's just like you were saying, like it's free for the beginning, but as it scales up, they start to charge.
Yeah,
As it scales, like once you get more users and traffic, like you said. So, yeah, Google's definitely good about that. Like if you need, you know, no upfront costs in the beginning. So, I see exactly
yeah,
what you're saying. And
yeah,
it's the same because I was thinking about. Like I told you I was on that one stream about. I'm kind of dabbling with Swift, but I'm like, man, I'm so tied in with JavaScript right now that like I'm like, man, I might as well just use React Native to build these apps. So I understand exactly what you're saying. Like once you like got your bread and butter on something, it's hard to like just kind of learn something new and get out of that ecosystem.
mm-hmm,
I
yep,
know exactly.
yeah. But yeah, shout out to Kev Tech, man. He say he's still waiting for KeepItTechie Linux course. Yeah, I got you, man. I'm glad you saying something to me, because because you keeping me on top of it. I gotta make sure this thing comes out. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that I wanna really do. Is just I switched jobs not that long ago. Well, not really switched jobs, but switched contracts, and so it's just been pushing it to the side, and I got about half of it, a little bit more than half of it done. I just got to keep recording and get back on it. So I appreciate you, Kev Tate, for keeping me in line, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get that course out, man, soon. Um, but
Yeah,
nah,
of course, bro. You helped
huh?
me out with that. You helped me out with that. Setting up that Plex. I had watched one of your old videos.
Oh
Back
yeah,
when I was setting up my Linux for my parents, I had to set the little media center up. So yeah, man, we
yeah,
need that course, bro. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. I'm gonna knock it out, man. But yeah, that's dope, man. See, and that's the thing, bro. I always love hearing about people actually using my videos to, set up something. I didn't create the software, but I'm just, showing people how easy it is to use Linux and set it up or whatever, and use it for whatever you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope, and that's one of the things I do. I got a Plex server. My family, whoever wants to watch it can watch it. My parents and stuff, and sister, they can watch it, watch all the stuff I have, all my movies that I, pay for, you know. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I got three laptops back at home with Linux
Hmm.
on it. And
Okay.
Linux Mint. I put Linux Mint on there. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah, and you know what's funny too, man? It's like it's the thing is, bro. It's like there's like a million Plex videos out there, but
Hmm.
like it's like people want to hear you talk about it. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like that's what I was thinking about too. Because it's like in the beginning I was like, man, do people really want to hear me talk about JavaScript or programming like that? But they do.
Yeah.
They do. And I'm like, okay, yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
check out this one person, bro. And I want you to like really go look at his channel and see what he's doing. But uh and that's crazy. I'm saying this shit, but I can't remember the guy's name. Oh, Engineering Man. You heard of Engineering Man?
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
check him out, bro. He does a lot of programming. He does a lot of freelance work, and he has a big YouTube channel that
oh, I
um
see.
you see him. Yeah, I think it's Green and Black.
Mm-hmm.
on it or whatever. He does a lot of programming videos. Some of it he had to take down because he did some hacking stuff, uh, where he actually used like Python to, like, you know how people receive the text messages where it says click this link. He
Yeah,
analyzed the link one time, found out where the link was going, and hacked the server that was getting the people's information that were clicking on it and typing in their information. And he deleted the tables, deleted the database. he had to take it down, I think, because of what happened. Because obviously you can't show people how to hack, but he basically did a cross-site scripting, or it was one of those database hacks. I think it's cross-site scripting, and he got into the database from the login from the website itself by typing in SQL injection. He used SQL injection.
right. See,
Yeah, and he hacked
wow,
into the dude's stuff, created an account on the dude's server, logged into the server, deleted all the people's information that was stolen from this scam that this guy was running on his server. Yeah, it's crazy.
that's a hero.
Yeah, he's
Hero. I'm
so
about to
I
subscribe.
subscribed to it when I seen that video. I seen that video years ago, but I think it's still out there online somewhere outside of YouTube, but he couldn't keep it on YouTube. But yeah, Engineering Man is somebody that is a programmer, and that's why I'm recommending him to you. He is a programmer, and he puts out videos like what you're talking about, just teaching people about whatever programming language you want to learn. You see what I'm saying? So you could look at his concept, or not his concept, but how he produces his videos, and you could probably implement some of that within what you want to do as well. So it's always
No,
good to take it should be, isn't it considered what, flattery? Not
yeah,
stealing, but
yeah, imitation
copying.
is
Yeah, imitation is a form of
yeah.
flattery. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And you know what? I like to say things too, man. Like, I like to call myself a hacker. Like, I got I got programmer, full stack developer, software developer, whatever you want to call me, right?
Mhm.
But how I really identify myself, bro, is a hacker. I think because you don't have to hack a system to be a hacker. You could just like how you doing. You work in San Diego but living in Vegas, right? That's a hack.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's different types of being a hacker. I think anytime you can uh, manipulate a system to your advantage,
Mhm.
that's what I mean. That's the hacker to me, and I'm glad you showed me to do because. Like I say, people like to say that JavaScript is a hacker's tool too, because it's like the web is like everybody's on the web, so if you know
Mhm.
JavaScript and stuff like that, I've seen some of them cats. They go into the debug console and they're like, I need to get into that though. I
Yeah.
want to get into cybersecurity, and you got me. I've always wanted to do that, man. Just
Yeah.
hack
Definitely look into it, bro. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna look at that. That was tight. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
started. Yeah.
But
But
nah, I appreciate everybody that came through. This is my longest interview. I definitely appreciate you sticking around too,
oh,
Citizen Luke. You know what I'm
yeah, my
saying? It's a great
bad.
combo.
Yeah, it was
Huh?
a great. This is a great conversation, bro. I was
Yeah.
just, damn, wow, yeah, I didn't know it was going to. My bad. Yeah, we just flowing.
Yeah. And shout out to Black Heights. I forgot I seen you come through with a super chat. Definitely appreciate it. Let me see what he says. Shout out to my brother KIT. Yeah, shout out to you, bro. You over there doing great things as well, bro. I
Yeah,
seen
I like
you
that.
yeah. I seen he collab with KevTech, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to both you guys, you know what I'm saying? We all gotta help each other as a community. So I
Yeah, man.
appreciate it. And like I said, bro, and I think I told you this outside of the stream, that if I see anybody doing something positive, which I know that's what you're doing with your channel, I want to support you, and I'll do my best to support you by sharing your videos and doing what I can to help people, see what you're pushing on your channel as well. You know what I'm saying? So
No, I appreciate
it's
it,
it's a
bro.
community, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta stick together and try to, support each other and do what we can. So.
Because Josh, man, I'm gonna tell you. I know we about to wrap it up, but I definitely wanted to say this before I left. Bro, every time I meet somebody like a black man in the space, a brother, he always 100 grand. I mean, it's just he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. You know, I don't have, what I'm saying. So it's like I want that. I want it to grow because
Yeah.
it's like because right now software development is 2.5% black, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like you have to be like you have to get on the internet to find other black people, and you know what I'm saying. Like you have
Yeah.
to meet up with that. Like, I'm not gonna go outside. Well, right now, but what I'm saying, I wouldn't be able to go in Mississippi and just find somebody doing it. It's very
Mm-hmm.
rare.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you on that, man. That's why I like these conversations with other tech brothers, man, because we understand what it's like. We
Mm-hmm.
understand. We got similar experiences growing up, and it's just I wish we had like that one job. The first job I went to, I talk about this story a lot. Like I went into, I was knocking on the door. That like they, you know what I mean. They were like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Bro, I work here. What are you talking about?" You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But if there was more black people who worked there, they wouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? They would have.
Even
They
thought
wouldn't.
that. Yeah.
Right, but I'm the only black dude there, and I wasn't even dressed like I was dressed pretty formal, so I wasn't even like, you know what I mean. So
Mm-hmm.
I just definitely want to get more brothers in because there's this thing that I was thinking about, Josh. It's called culture. It was called culture expectations. Like I'm kind of writing it, thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So think about like Eminem, right? He's a white rapper, right? We're gonna we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna, we're gonna go there, Josh, because I want to
Nah, go there.
I want to leave
Go.
this show with a bang. I want to leave this show with a bang, right?
Okay.
So let's look at Eminem, right? He's a white rapper. So the expectations of him being good were very low, right?
Mm-hmm.
But little do we know that's actually what helped him,
Yeah.
right? So use that with tech. There's not a lot
Mm-hmm.
of black people in it, so the expectations are already low.
Yeah.
So use your advantage. So you want to be underestimated
Mm-hmm.
because then you know what I mean. That's like I think that's the 48 laws of power, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you want to play the fool and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then you just that's what I did in my job. Like this dude, I guess my first year he thought I was like, I don't know, man. Maybe I ain't gonna say because I was black, but maybe because the boot camp thing. But he
Mm-hmm.
kind of like trying to play me a little bit, like I didn't know certain things, and I was like, I let him get it off at first, right? But then as time went on, I was like, it was obvious that I knew what I was doing, and I was like, I upshowed him. It's just you get that sweet revenge eventually. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I want on that, man. I'm that
Nah,
rambling.
you good. You good. No, I agree. I agree. You know what I'm saying? So, but shout out to you, bro, for coming through and doing this again. Shout out to all the people that came through. I definitely appreciate you guys for, supporting the channel and everything. And make sure you guys go check out Citizen Lou and everything he's talking about on his channel. You know what I'm saying? I just dropped his link in the chat again, as well as it has a link to his Twitter, as well as his blog. I dropped both of them in now. But no, I appreciate all you guys for coming through and sticking around. And this was a great conversation as needed. You know what I'm saying? We need to have more like it. I'm definitely gonna try to bring you back again, Citizen Lou, so we can chop it up some more. This was a dope discussion, like I said, bro, or like you said as well. We everybody agree. It was a dope discussion. So I appreciate you coming through again and stick around after the outro runs. But uh, shout out again and peace, guys.
Peace.